There is a $3-gallon jug sitting in American pantries since before the Civil War. It replaces 21 products under your sink. The Amish never stopped using it. The rest of us forgot it existed. $400 a year. That is what the average American household hands over to companies that did not exist when your grandfather was born. The Amish keep that money. You can too. The Amish never made the switch. They never had to. They never left it in the first place. In 1958, Pennsylvania State University published an extension bulletin that listed 21 household uses for white vinegar. That bulletin was quietly defunded in the 70s. The families that kept using it are still using it today. I am going to walk you through every single one. And this is not for someone building a cabin in the woods. This is for the home you already own, the kitchen you already cook in, the basement that has been giving you trouble for 30 years. The first time I sat at a kitchen table in Holmes County, Ohio, I watched a woman named Miriam wipe down a butcher block that had been in her family for 3 generations. She held up a glass jar, half full of clear liquid. Vinegar, she said. That was it. No brand, no scent, no fine print. Just vinegar and water, the same formula her mother used and her grandmother before that. Now, let me start with something most people get wrong from the very first bottle. There are 2 kinds of white vinegar on the shelf at your grocery store, and only one of them is the one the Amish actually use for daily cleaning. The standard distilled white vinegar comes in at 5% acidity. The other one, sometimes labeled cleaning vinegar, comes in at 6%. That single percentage point sounds like nothing, but it changes the strength of the solution dramatically. For routine cleaning, the 5% is what you want. The 6% is stronger than necessary for most household jobs and costs more per gallon. A single 5-gallon jug of 5% distilled white vinegar, according to a woman in Lancaster County whose family has been using it for over 40 years, lasts one household an entire calendar year. 1 jug, 12 months. For a family of 7, the first use, and the one that converts most skeptics, is window cleaning. You take a spray bottle, you fill it with equal parts white vinegar and water, and you add exactly 1 teaspoon of plain dish soap. That single teaspoon is what cuts through the greasy film that builds up on kitchen windows from cooking. Without it, the vinegar streaks. With it, the windows come clean in 1 pass. But here is the part the commercial brands never tell you. You do not wipe with paper towels. You wipe with newspaper. The fibers in newsprint are tighter and shorter than paper towel fibers, and they do not leave lint behind. The Amish have been using newspaper on glass for over a century, and the result is a window so clear it looks like there is no glass at all. The cost of this solution compared to commercial window spray is roughly 90% less. 90%! The second use is the stainless steel sink. You pour the vinegar straight onto a soft cloth, no dilution, and you scrub in the direction of the grain, always with the grain, never across it. Then you dry with a clean cloth. The sink will look like the day it was installed. The third use is the inside of your refrigerator. 50% vinegar, 50% water in a spray bottle. Spray every shelf, every drawer, every door panel. Wipe with a clean rag. The smell of vinegar disappears within 20 minutes, and what remains is a fridge that does not just look clean, but actually inhibits the growth of the mold spores that cause that musty refrigerator smell most American families have just accepted as normal. It is not normal. It is a sign of bacterial colonies, and vinegar dissolves them. But understanding why this works so well requires going back further than most people realize. Vinegar has been documented as a cleaning agent for over 10,000 years. The acetic acid that makes up the active component is one of the oldest known antimicrobials in human history. The Babylonians used it, the Romans used it, the American colonists used it, and when the Amish arrived in Pennsylvania in the early 1700s, they brought with them a tradition of household management that already considered vinegar essential. What changed was not the vinegar. What changed was the marketing. In 1947, a company called Procter & Gamble launched a national advertising campaign that introduced the idea of specialized cleaners for specialized surfaces. Before that year, most American homes had 3 cleaning products: soap, baking soda, and vinegar. That was it. By 1965, the average American kitchen contained between 12 and 15 different cleaning products, each one marketed for a specific task. The cleaning industry in the United States grew from a roughly $200 million business in 1950 to a $40 billion business by 2020. That growth did not happen because homes got dirtier. It happened because families were taught to believe that one product could not possibly do the job of 15. The Amish never bought that story. They watched it happen from the other side of the buggy lane, and they kept right on using vinegar. The fourth use is the dishwasher. 1 cup of white vinegar in a container on the top rack. No detergent. Run a full cycle. This dissolves the mineral buildup that causes your dishwasher to start leaving cloudy residue on your glassware after a few years. Most people throw out the dishwasher at that point and buy a new one. The Amish would laugh at that. The fifth use is the washing machine. 2 cups of vinegar through a hot water cycle. No clothes, no detergent. Do this once every 3 months. It removes the soap scum buildup that causes the front-loading washer smell that has driven millions of American homeowners crazy. But this next one is where the cleaning industry really starts to bleed money. The sixth use is fabric softener. 1/2 cup of vinegar in the fabric softener compartment. Your clothes come out softer than any commercial product, and the static is gone. There is no vinegar smell on the clean laundry. None. The acid neutralizes during the rinse, and what is left is fabric that has been stripped of the detergent residue that actually causes most of the stiffness in modern laundry. The seventh use is descaling your kettle. Fill it with vinegar, boil it, dump it, rinse. The mineral scale that has been building up for years comes off in a single boil. The eighth use is your coffee maker. Run a full cycle with white vinegar in the water reservoir, then 2 cycles with plain water to rinse. Do this once a month. Your coffee will taste cleaner and the machine will last twice as long as the manufacturer expects. Now here is where it gets interesting, because this next one costs most American homeowners money every single year. The ninth use is unclogging drains. Pour 1/2 cup of baking soda down the drain, then pour 2 cups of boiling vinegar after it. Cover the drain with a towel to hold in the foam. Wait 10 minutes. Run hot water for 2 minutes. Drains that have been slow for years will run clear. The 10th use is killing weeds. Pure white vinegar, no dilution, sprayed directly on the weeds growing through the cracks in your driveway or patio. They die within 48 hours. The 11th use is removing ink marks from walls and desks. A cloth dampened with full-strength vinegar will lift pen marks that have been there for years. The 12th use is removing chewing gum from carpet, hair, or upholstery. Pour vinegar directly on the gum, let it sit for 2 minutes, and it peels away. The 13th use is removing sticker residue from glass jars and plastic containers. Same method. Soak in vinegar, wipe clean. The 14th use is cleaning fruit and vegetables. 25% vinegar, 75% water in a spray bottle. Spray your produce, then rinse. This removes more pesticide residue than plain water and kills surface bacteria that plain water leaves behind. A peer-reviewed study published through the British Columbia Institute of Technology showed that undiluted vinegar produced a statistically significant reduction in E. coli on cutting board surfaces with a p-value of less than 0.0001. That is research-grade evidence, not folklore. Now, if you already own a house, and you are sitting there thinking this only applies to people building from scratch or moving into a new place, stay with me, because this next part is specifically for you. The 15th use is the one that solves a problem millions of older American homes share, and it does not require a contractor, a permit, or a single dollar spent on equipment. I am talking about mold. I met a man in southern Ohio 2 years ago who lived in a house that had been built in 1962. His basement had a mold problem that he had been fighting for almost a decade. He had tried bleach. He had tried commercial mold killers. He had tried 3 different remediation companies, each one charging him over $1,000 for a treatment that lasted about 6 months before the mold came back. Then he met an Amish neighbor who told him to try plain white vinegar. He laughed. He said he had spent close to $4,000 on professional treatments. The neighbor just shrugged and said, "Try it anyway." He filled a spray bottle with undiluted white vinegar. He sprayed every visible patch of mold on the basement walls. He let it sit for 1 hour. Then he wiped it down. That was it. 6 months later, the mold had not returned. A year later, still gone. 2 years later, still gone. The science behind this is actually well documented. Bleach only kills the surface mold. It does not penetrate the porous material the mold has rooted into. Vinegar, because it is an acid, soaks deeper into the surface and kills the roots. This is why every contractor who sells mold remediation will tell you bleach is the only thing that works, because vinegar puts them out of business. The 16th use, also for existing homes, is cleaning grout. Pour vinegar onto the grout, let it sit for 15 minutes, then scrub with an old toothbrush. The grout will come back to nearly its original color. The 17th use is the toilet bowl. Pour 2 cups of vinegar into the bowl at night before bed. Let it sit overnight. In the morning, scrub with the brush and flush. The hard water rings and mineral deposits that have been embedded in the porcelain for years come off in a single scrub. The 18th use is the shower head. Take a plastic bag, fill it with vinegar, and tie it around the shower head so the head is submerged. Leave it for 8 hours. In the morning, remove the bag and run the water. The pressure will return. Plumbers charge between $80 and $200 to replace a shower head for this exact reason. The vinegar costs about 50 cents, and this is the one most people refuse to believe until they try it. The 19th use is for the rubber gasket around the door of your front-loading washing machine. That gasket develops a black mold ring that smells terrible and never seems to go away. Wipe it down with full-strength white vinegar once a week. The mold disappears, and it does not come back as long as you keep up the weekly wipe. The 20th use is your microwave. Put a cup of water with 2 tablespoons of vinegar inside. Run the microwave on high for 3 minutes. The steam loosens every bit of dried food on the interior walls, and you can wipe it clean with a single paper towel. No scrubbing. Now let me give you a few more things before we get to the finale, because they are too important to skip. The cast iron skillet. If you have ever inherited a pan covered in rust, it is not ruined. Equal parts white vinegar and water in a basin, submerge the pan and let it sit. Not for days, for 1 hour, maybe 2 if the rust is severe. Any longer, and the vinegar starts to eat the iron itself, which is the part most internet tutorials get wrong. After the soak, scrub with steel wool, rinse, dry immediately over heat so it does not flash rust, and re-season with lard or flaxseed oil. A 2015 study published in the Journal of Food Protection confirmed that vinegar at 5% acidity removes iron oxide at roughly 0.2 millimeters per hour, exactly the window the Amish have been working in for 2 centuries without ever reading a journal. Then there is the farm fresh egg with the bloom still on it. If you have backyard chickens, sometimes an egg comes out with a smudge on it. Soap will ruin it, bleach will ruin it. A splash of white vinegar on a damp cloth, wiped gently across the shell, removes the contamination without penetrating the porous surface. The bloom stays intact. The egg keeps for weeks on the counter, the way it did in 1840. And on laundry, half a cup of white vinegar in the rinse cycle does 4 things at once. It strips out detergent residue, which is the actual cause of that scratchy, stiff feeling people blame on hard water. It softens fabric without petroleum-based chemicals. It brightens whites by neutralizing the alkaline buildup that yellows cotton over time. And it deodorizes, pulling out deep-set smells that even hot water cannot reach. A bottle of name-brand fabric softener costs around $8 and lasts maybe 40 loads. A gallon of vinegar costs around $3 and lasts over 100. Fabric softener as a product, by the way, was introduced by Procter & Gamble in 1957. The Amish have been doing without it for the same amount of time the rest of us have been buying it. One more thing some of you are wondering about: the smell. White vinegar dissipates completely within 15 to 20 minutes of application, far faster than bleach, far faster than ammonia, far faster than any commercial cleaner with a synthetic fragrance designed to linger. By the time you have finished cleaning one room and moved to the next, the first room smells like nothing, like air. Which is, when you think about it, what clean is actually supposed to smell like. The Amish figured this out a long time ago. Before I give you the 21st use, the one that has never appeared in any cleaning guide I have ever read, one quick thing. Everything I have been pulling out of these Amish kitchens, the 21 uses in this video, the 15 uses of borax from the borax video, the lime wash thermal coating from the wall video, the sand oven from the retained heat cooking video, the 20 Depression era money secrets from the self-reliance video, the hempcrete and sprouted seed from the hemp video, and all the other pieces I have pulled out of Lancaster County and Holmes County over the years. I have put it all in one place, room by room, season by season, in the order the families actually use it. It is called the Amish Home System. Link is in the description. But stay right here, because the 21st use is the one the modern furniture industry would prefer you never learn, and it comes straight from that 1958 Penn State Bulletin. But the 21st use is the one I want to spend real time on, because it is the one that almost nobody outside of Amish country knows about, and it is the one that changed how I think about vinegar entirely. I came across a reference in an old Pennsylvania State University agricultural extension document, originally published in the late 1950s, that described a practice common in plain communities for protecting wooden furniture and finished wood floors from long-term moisture damage. The document called it a vinegar oil treatment, and what it described was a mixture that, as far as I have been able to find, has never appeared in any modern cleaning guide, any homemaking blog, or any commercial product advertisement. The formula is 3 parts olive oil to 1 part white vinegar. You shake it in a glass jar until it emulsifies. Then you apply it with a soft cloth to wood surfaces, working in the direction of the grain. What this mixture does is something the modern furniture polish industry would prefer you never learn. The vinegar cuts through the existing wax and grime, lifting it away from the wood. At the same moment, the olive oil penetrates into the wood grain, nourishing and sealing the wood from underneath. Commercial furniture polishes do one or the other. They either clean or they polish. They never do both, because if they did both, they would only need to sell you 1 product instead of 2. The Amish figured this out generations ago, and they have been using this same 3-to-1 ratio on wooden tables, chairs, hutches, and floors for over 100 years. The furniture in many Amish homes is older than the United States itself, and it still looks the way it did the day it was built. The reason this matters is not just about wood, it is about what the document represented. That extension bulletin was published as part of a homemaker education program meant to share practical, low-cost solutions with rural families during a period when commercial cleaning products were rapidly replacing traditional methods. The program was quietly defunded in the 1970s, around the same time that major chemical companies began offering significant funding to university agricultural departments. The information did not disappear, it just stopped being taught. It survived in the homes of communities that did not subscribe to magazines, did not watch television, and did not listen to radio advertising. The Amish were not preserving this knowledge as an act of rebellion. They were preserving it because it worked, and because they had no reason to replace something that worked with something that cost more and did less. The reason I am telling you all of this is not because vinegar is some kind of miracle. It is not. It is just an old, simple, cheap acid that humans have been using for thousands of years. The miracle is not the vinegar. The miracle is that an entire industry convinced an entire country that we needed 15 different bottles under the sink to do what 1 bottle has always done. That trick took about 70 years to pull off, and it generated tens of billions of dollars in profit. The Amish never fell for it, and now you do not have to either. The knowledge was not lost. It was just moved to the side of the road, where the buggies still travel, while the rest of us drove past it for 60 years on our way to the store. You just turned around. That is all this is. You turned around, and you found it sitting right where it always was. If you are the kind of person who believes that real knowledge has been quietly pushed aside to protect somebody else's profit margin, you already know what to do with what you learned today. You start small. You buy 1 gallon of 5% distilled white vinegar this weekend. You try the window method with the newspaper. You try the dishwasher cycle. You try the shower head trick with the plastic bag. And you watch what happens. And then you tell somebody else. Because that is how this kind of knowledge survives. Not through advertising, through neighbors. Out of the 21 uses I just walked through, which one surprised you the most? Was it the mold treatment that the contractors do not want you to know about? Was it the olive oil and vinegar furniture mixture from that Penn State document? Was it the shower head trick? Leave a comment below and tell me which one you are going to try first. I read every single comment. Do not just watch and leave. Tell me. Subscribe to the channel, because next week I am going to walk you through something even more buried than vinegar. I am going to show you the exact reason why Amish basements stay dry without a single sump pump, in regions where every other home on the block has water damage. There is one specific material applied in one specific way, and once you see it, you will understand why your basement has been fighting you for 30 years. I will see you there.